Welcome to everyone. In this week's video you will learn how powerful and profitable are the cycles, and how to use them to trade the gold market to increase your profits. This week's video will cover the gold market for the week of April 22, 2024. Before we start, make sure you read carefully the disclaimer. The gold price reached an all-time high on April 12 at $2,448. And the GLD ETF $225 the same day. Since that high the gold market start to correct. Let's see what's happened, and let's start by the 20-week cycle. The last 20-week cycle low was on February 14 at 183.78. This low was certainly a 40 weeks and 18 months cycle low. This explained the bullishness of the market. The next 20-week cycle is scheduled for mid-June. If the February low was an 18-month cycle low, then we can expect the June low should find support on his cycle line, unless the gold market turns suddenly bearish. The 20-week cycle lines at that time will be around $218, but a more precise target will be available in the next few weeks. The last upside 197 target have been well exceeded, and for now we do not have a new upside 20-week cycle target. The peak for this 20-week cycle is expected to occur around last week. Is the April 12th is the 20-week cycle peak? He occur right at the peak of the cycle. We will know when the gold market will cross below his 80-day cycle trend, or if the gold market make a new high. The success rate is 100%. Let's see the 80-day cycle. For sure the April 12th high at 225 is the 80-day cycle peak. Technically this 80-day cycle low should find support on his cycle line, but the market is still very bullish. Because the peak of this cycle formed on the right part of the cycle, the red dashed line, we call that right time translation. Low is expected this week on April 22nd. There is no new target for now. Where are we on the roadmap? Just as reminder, the cycle line used on the roadmap is the 20-day cycle line. Since we are finishing an 80-day cycle, we are right there. What's next for the next 80-day cycle? Let's assume the 80-day cycle low is on time on April 22nd. Of course, if the market make his low before or after, we have to change the date by the same amount of days. So we will get the confirmation of the low when the gold ETF will cross above his 20-day cycle line, providing an upside potential target and form a peak on May 1st. If the gold ETF do not cross below the actual 20-day cycle line, then we skip this step. Then the gold will start a correction to form a low on May 9th, finding support on his cycle line. If the gold cross below his cycle line at that time, this will be the first sign of some weakness of the gold market. Then the gold ETF will rally and form his 40-day cycle peak on May 5th or 6th. To stay bullish, the 40 days peak have to form on the right part of the 40-day cycle. Then after his 40 days peak, the gold ETF should cross below his cycle line, providing a downside target for the 40 days cycle low on May 26th. After the 40 days low, the market will cross above his cycle line, providing an upside target for the 80 days cycle peak. This peak should form on the left part of the cycle, or at the best right on the cycle peak. We can expect the peak will form around third week of May. After the 80-day cycle peak formation, the gold ETF should cross back below his cycle line, providing a downside target for the next 80-day cycle low, forming a first low around beginning of June, then rally toward his cycle line, using it as resistance before heading down to June 19th to form the 80-day cycle low. This 80-day cycle will form at the same time the 20-week cycle low. The success rate is 63%. The 40 days cycle. The last 40 days cycle low occurred on March 19th with a low at 198. The next one is expected on Monday, April 22nd, the yellow zone on the chart. Since the cycles are synchronized at their lows, the 40-day cycle will form his low at the same time than the 80-day cycle. Technically, since he is the second 40-day cycle since the last major low on February 14th. The gold ETF supposed to cross below his cycle lines, providing a downside target. But the market is so bullish, then he is well above his cycle lines. The cycles lines for this week are between 213 and 217. If the low occur on time, the next low is expected for May 26. The peak for the next 40 days cycle can be expected on the right part of the cycle, after the red dashed line, between May 12th to 15th. If the peak occur before May 9th, this will mean the gold markets start to show some weakness. The success rate is 100%. Let's talk a little bit about the roadmap. The roadmap can be used for trading with any cycle. It's an helpful tool for trading. To use for trading, choose the time cycle you want to trade. For that, use the Hurst nominal model as base. Take the last 6 cycles length from your chart you want to trade, divide by 6 and you get your cycle average you need, then plot the cycle line on your roadmap. As reminder, the cycle line used for the roadmap is the cycle length, divide by 2, and you add 1. When the actual 40-day cycle low will be confirmed, I will draw the 40-day cycle trend line to help to identify the next 80-day cycle peak. The 20 days cycle. The last 20 days cycle low occurred on April 4th. The next one is scheduled for April 21st. The one after that is expected to form a low on May 8th, the yellow zone on the chart. The market is still very bullish for now, since the gold ETF stay well above his cycle line. Here the cycles line and their potential targets, in case the market cross below them this week. The success rate is 100%. The 10 days cycle. The last 10 days cycle formed on April 12th, the next one is expected on April 20th. Even on the 10 days cycle, the gold ETF is still above his cycle line, at that time he should be below it. This shows the strength of this bull market. Here the cycle line and their potential target, if this week the gold ETF cross below it. Otherwise, no much to add this week for the gold market. The success rate is 87%. In conclusion, we still have a good amount of bullishness in this gold market. The 20-week cycle peak should form very soon. If you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to make sure you don't miss any future important videos. This is the end of this week's video. Thank you for following me. Next week, I will publish another market update.